Hi, I'm CK. In this video, we're going to put Suno to the test. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you and I can use Suno as a songwriter or a producer or just for fun. What I want to figure out today is how good is it at taking my personal creative ideas that I feed it and then creating something from that. Now, there's really two different ways you could go about this. The first one, which I find really fun and it's really easy to do because you could either just grab your phone and hum a melody into it, or I could take something like this piano part. And then with the cover function that Suno has, it can turn that into this. Pretty sweet, right? But the thing is, with the cover function, it's just taking that piano idea and then making a full-fledged song out of that. None of that original piano is in that official cover that Suno just made. It is a full song, and that might be all that you're looking for, but in this video, that's not what I'm looking for. There's another function in Suno for the higher tiered subscription users called Studio. Now, this is what we're going to be focused on today. Studio is really just like a DAW within the web browser of Suno itself. Now, it is within this Studio side of Suno that we can now take something like that piano, or in this instance for this video is going to be a drum performance. And I want to see, with no preconceived notions except for a drum part, and then obviously a prompt for genre, I'm curious how well Suno can actually write music to my drums. So I sat down and for a full day, I worked out a drum part that I would consider falls in the punk ska category of music genre, at least as far as drums go. So there was not any sort of scratch track piano or guitar or anything written for this. This was all just drums straight out of my head, and it is a full song. So we're really going to be able to put Suno to the test. Also going to be able to really test it out because within my drum performance or part, there are some unique kind of off-time tempoed hits or syncopations that if you were in a true songwriting session, your bassist or whomever you're working with, you'd be like, it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we're going to see, based on Suno listening to the drum part itself, is it going to be able to pick up and go, here are the stops and the unique syncopations that I need to write music to. But before we really dive into that, just so we're on the same page as far as what the drums sound and feel like, here is the full drum performance. And you can skip ahead if you don't want to watch the full thing, just catch a little bit of the idea of what it is. But if you do watch the full thing, I'm sure you're probably going to hear melodies and kind of a general idea of what the song can be just based off of the drums. And we'll see how close Suno gets to what we hear in our heads, or just goes ahead and surprises us entirely with whatever it decides to make off of this. But here's the drum part. And there it is. If you're curious what drums were used for that performance or for this performance that we're using for this, it is from a company called RS Drums. It is the Progressive Prodigy Simon Sandness signature drum kit. I guess this really brings us to now we need to hop into Suno Studio and we need to start generating some content to these original drums. Okay, so we are in Studio by Suno, and the very first thing I want to check, because when I immediately look down here and see 174 BPM, that's not correct. The song is actually 164, and I think what I have to do is maybe thumb through a little bit, because yeah, there it says 164, there it says 164. So let's just click on this. Follow track may fluctuate. How about constant? Let's keep it at 164 so that way it works well with DAW. If we end up with a great song and something that sounds awesome, that's a helpful tip so that way it actually can align in your DAW better if you decide to use any of the stems that you get out of Studio. And the way that Studio works when you use it in this way, because the way that I've used it before is taken a cover that was created and then open that in Studio so I could generate more stems. Like say that if it was a rock song and it didn't have any strings already on it and I wanted to add strings, let's say this orange track bar existing audio file was like something I brought over. All I would do is hit add track, select the region that I want to add something to. So you could do it just to like in just the intro or just for the first chorus. But for this instance, like say I wanted strings throughout the whole rock song, you'd go over here and then you'd select the in particular stem that you want to create. So since we just have a drum track and I want to create something that is in the ska-punk realm, we have to think about that genre really quickly. And the two main instruments besides drums that pop out of my head are going to be bass and then horns, brass. Okay, they've got brass, thank God. And obviously bass is going to lock in with the drums a little bit better. I guess what I'm trying to say is whatever stem I create first, that is now going to be part of the foundation for every other next stem that gets created. So if I create the horns first and then create a bass stem, that bass is now going to write to what the horns decided to do, meaning like the key signature and every new layer that we add. Now Suno is going to listen to that as an entirely whole track and start making decisions on the next instrument until we're all the way down to vocals for the very last step. So my gut's telling me to go with bass first. So I'm going to say bass, and then in styles, I'm just going to type in, what do I want first? Probably ska with a comma and then punk. And that's it. I'm not going to give it more than that. All right. It's starting to make some stuff. Now, you are able to expand this and you get two versions of any in particular stem created at the same time. And I have found that even though it's like you can go ahead and hit play right now while it's still doing this generation, your results end up better if you don't hit play just yet, if you let it make the entire audio file first. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, that's not bad. That bass sounds terrible though. It's a cool line. Okay, it got that. That's neat. Okay, this is the other bass track we're going to listen to real quick. Okay, I think I like that bass track a lot more, actually. Okay. So yeah, essentially I am good with that. And we still have a highlighted section now. So I think what we're going to add next is the brass and ska-punk. And it's going to write based on now the drums and the bass that exist currently within this session. Okay, so that was one of the things I was curious about. There was the 1 to 2 and 3 and 4, but it listened and it understood the role that it was meant to play there, which that's crazy and that's awesome. So it's this is really, really, really neat. And now I'm so curious to see what we're going to get for all these other instruments, which there's obviously not that many more that we have to do. We'll have the brass, and then we'll have a guitar track, and then probably some keys. I don't know, maybe like an organ. We could try. We'll see what it comes up with, and then we got to go and generate some lyrics somewhere, which haven't quite decided what the topic's going to be about yet. It's going to be something silly is what I can tell you for sure. This is definitely the hardest part, is waiting. Okay, we have our 2 generative horn sections. Here we go. Here's the version 1. Oh. Yeah. All right, so vocals are definitely gonna have a lot to do here. Yeah, sometimes you get some pretty bad artifacting. Wow. Okay, well let's try version 2 real quick. Okay, I gotta check that little halftime bit with this one. Okay, yeah, I think I'm content with the first brass piece that we listened to. Version 1, I guess is what we would call it. God, that is so incredible. All right, we are going to move on to guitar, ska-punk. Here we go. And then, obviously, if things stick as well as they're all kind of sticking right now and it sounds super fun, yeah, the goal will be to then download all the individual stems of this song, produce to the best of my ability a mix with the provided stems, because like I said, these stems still aren't the highest quality. They tend to like change quality throughout the song on certain times. The way that this is shaping up though right now makes me really excited to hear what this whole thing sounds like as a finished piece, because I think I could definitely get a drum performance video by itself with this song to use if it continues to be as awesome as it's happening. All right, just based on the sound wave that we see here, we have a lot more action happening in the kind of like dry spots where the bass and the horns haven't picked up yet. So I'm gonna let this finish generating before I hit play, but I'm excited. Okay, here we go. Let it get to the chorus. Okay, we're going to check out guitar version 2. Yeah. Oh. Okay, well, at this point, I like guitar 2 more. Yeah, that's certainly pretty cool. Whoa. Okay. All right. So I think in this instance, what I would like to do is generate another set of guitar tracks, because I'm not like really keen on either of them. But what I'm gonna do is leave the guitar part up there that I enjoy more. Well, and that's the thing too, is I enjoy little snippets of each performance. And so the ideal thing would be to download both guitar tracks and then pick and choose my favorite pieces inside my editing station to make an overall better guitar part. But what I think I'm going to do is just leave this how it is for now. Let's go ahead and get the keys in here and see if there's anything. Let me check real quick before we get into vocals. Brass, we don't want woodwinds. We don't really need effects. Synthesizer? I don't think so. I think keyboard. Maybe it'll choose an organ. We'll have to see. But what was my point? Is once we get a full song made, I will probably then come up and mute the guitars and then generate another guitar track and have it write guitars to a more established existing song. And maybe we'll get better results at the end for that. But I guess while this is going, what I'm going to do, here's a fun, punchy lyric set you could drop straight into your project. Okay, great. Ska-punk yard work song, Weekend Warrior of the Lawn. So I prompted my chat if it would create some lyrics for me about the mundaneness of doing yard work, including but not limited to mowing, blowing the leaves, edging, all the stuff that you would have to do for your yard. Because when you're working with AI songs, why take it seriously? This is all meant to be just pretty fun and tongue in cheek anyway. So I'm sure, so it'll be really fun to copy and paste those and drop that in and see what we get for our vocals. But our keys are ready to go. So let's see. Ooh, it's like a harpsichord. Did it glitch there? Okay, so there are clearly a lot of cool ideas here, but it's just a big mess right now within this project. So let's go ahead and get a vocalist in here just so we could kind of hear what a song is going to sound like. And we are going to have vocals and lyrics. Done. All right. because I'm pretty sure that what is going to have to go down is some pretty fine-combed editing. Not in here. I'd rather have everything synced up in my own workstation. Because, yeah, certain parts of it sound really cool right now, but other parts of it just sound like a mess. Like there's no organization whatsoever. But a lot of that can come together with vocals. Because, yeah, really the question is, do I want to turn this into a drum performance video that can stand alone on its own and then people can hear the song? I just don't know yet. Right now, it might just be for this video sake and purpose, but we'll see what the vocalist does here, and if it really makes it like something that just really needs to be shared beyond this video. Okay, here we go with vocals.
Like it hates its life, but we both keep pushing through the strife. Sunburn badge on my summer skin. Neighbors stare like here he goes again. Wave hello with the sweaty grin. Yard work calls and I can't clock in. I got grass stains on my pride. AirPods in, this is my vibe. Tell the weeds to step outside, 'cause we're about to collide. I'm a weekend warrior of the Lord, skanking with the sprinkler on, raking like I'm righting wrongs, blowing leaves to ska-punk solos, edging borders, hedge patrol, much as far as I can roll. Yeah, they think I've lost control, but this is how I save my soul. Trimble buzzing like a horn section, dandelion stage a resurrection. Garden gloves with the holes worn through. I salute the dirt like I see you. Wheelbarrows got a flat again. We keep moving like stubborn friends. Sweat drips under mission trip. DIY apocalypse. Grass stains on my self-esteem. Still I'm out here living dreams. Tell the yard to pick a team, 'cause I'm the captain of this scene. I'm a weekend warrior of the Lord, skanking with the sprinkler on, raking like I'm righting wrongs, blowing leaves to ska-punk songs, edging borders, edge patrol, much as far as I can go. Yeah, they think I lost control, but this is how I save my soul. How I save my soul. Blistered hands and no perfumes. I'm finding zen in the suburban doom. Hey, one more pass and then I'm free till tomorrow when it grows on me. Skank, rainbow, repeat the dance. Give my crispy lawn a fighting chance. Yeah, the whole block knows I'm
Okay, I like what I'm hearing. I really do. Like I said, I am going to go ahead and where are the guitars? I'm going to turn those off and make sure we don't have any.
coffee hits, I'm out the door. Flip-flop slapping on the porch floor. Long
And I'm going to generate another set of guitars and hopefully end up with something a little better than what was delivered for the first set. And yeah. So here's where we're at. I'm impressed, and I think there's potential here, but it is just it's a very clustery mess right now, and it's going to take some proper engineering to get this thing to actually sound good. Because I even think I started to hear other snare rim clicks within one of these other tracks, because I know for a fact during kind of like the halftime shuffle groove, I was going to a main snare from the side snare, not a side stick. So that's just kind of one of the things that you have to cope with when you work with Suno, is you're going to get added sounds into in particular tracks. And it'll be really great once this application or the next great generative music application starts to actually make like, I'm sure someday we'll get to lossless quality, but it'll be nice to get to like a more consistent, like cleaner, punchier version of the stem. When Suno makes a song entirely on its own, like you just give it the genre prompt and maybe some lyrics, it does great. Like the Camel Up song that I just made a video for, like that was just some lyrics and a hip hop prompt, and that song came out amazing. And in fact, I was just like, I got to use this because this would be so fun to drum to. But obviously what we're experiencing here is like just things just aren't talking quite like they would as if the entire song was generated by itself. Which, now that, before we go, while we're here, why don't we make a cover of the existing drums? Here, let me show you what I mean. I guess while we're here real quick, let's listen to these guitars. That's already so much better.
Coffee hits, I'm out the door. Flip flop slapping on the porch floor. Lawnmower cops.
Let's check out the chorus. We only got a left channel. Now we have a stereo. See, that's kind of the bummer, is like this chorus starts with only a left channel guitar, and then as it progresses, like not even at the appropriate. But who knows, maybe that could sound cool. But yeah, what I'm going to have to do is take this into Logic Pro, my DAW of choice, and clean it up. But let's do this. Now where we're going to check in is to see what Suno can now do with the cover of just that drum track that I initially uploaded. And so if you haven't worked in Suno, this is now going to look different. And so what we're going to do is just paste those lyrics that we just got from ChatGPT. And over here, I'm just going to type in ska-punk. Simple. And let's have the audio influence be, well, why not? Well, okay, let's let it cook. Let's just move the audio influence to 50% and let us see. Let's see what it makes. Now, this is one of those scenarios that I was talking about earlier, that Suno is now making an entirely brand new, fresh song, meaning my existing drum parts, like my actual recorded drums, will not be in this. The drums that it writes for this song might be identical or very similar, but it will not be the mixed process drums that I put into Suno. But I'll be curious to see what it comes up with. Because what we might have to do then, if this ends up becoming a more like polished song, what I think I'm going to have to do then is take the instrumental minus the drums of this song and then use that for the potential drum performance of the song. But then it might not match up because of the hits. So like there's a, you know, it's AI. It's AI music creation. We're We're still in like the wild frontier. We need not forget that.
Coffee hits, I'm out the door. Flip-flop slapping on the porch floor. Lawnmower coughs like it hates its life, but we both keep pushing through the strife. Sunburn badge on my summer skin. Neighbors stare like here he goes again. I wave hello with a sweaty grin. Yard work calls and I can't clock in. I got grass stains on my pride. AirPods in, this is my vibe. Tell the weeds to step outside, 'cause we're about to collide. I'm a weekend warrior of the lawn, skanking with the sprinkler on. Coffee hits, I'm out the door. Flip flop slapping on the porch floor.
Okay. So as you can hear, it's an entirely different song. And so in order to do anything drum related to those two songs that were just created, and you can continue to like produce and produce until something hits for you. But the point is, those drums that already have a recorded performance of, can't use those because those drums don't match at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to doctor up the mix of the studio version of the song that we made and see if we can make something sound great. And that is going to play right now.
Like it hates its life, but we both keep pushing through this drive. Sunburn badge on my summer skin. Neighbors stare like here he goes again. I wave hello with a sweaty grin. Yard work calls and I can't clock in. I got grass stains on my pride. AirPods in, this is my vibe. Tell the weeds to step outside, 'cause we're about to collide. I'm a weekend warrior of the lawn.
right, future CK with a quick interruption because I figured right now is a really good time to show you all how I achieved the quality that you just heard with the song. And if you think that that sounded good, I will agree with you. Personally, I think it sounds freaking rad. But I want to be clear that that is not a result of just downloading the stems, aligning them in my DAW, and then doing a little bit of processing, and then I have this full song. No, it's quite the opposite. And I think it's going to work best if I just show you by example. So let's go over to the computer real quick and let me actually just show you. This folder right here is the overall ska-punk song. So you can see I have an individual folder for each instrument, the drums, bass, guitar, etc. And then I have my main mixing template. And so then if we hop into the actual project behind, this would be the horns that I was working on. This track bar that you see down here, that is the downloaded stem directly from Suno, converted to the sample rate that I do my projects in. And then if you look at the track bar above that, you could see all of the cuts, all of the crossfades, all of the work that really went into just these horns. And now this isn't just cuts and fades because there were artifacts, which there were a ton in the horns that needed to be removed, because a typical gate wouldn't even close on it because it was so loud, just like kind of staticky sounds. But also, as I mentioned prior, the horns are played differently enough from chorus 1 to chorus 2 to chorus 3 that if you want to create the most cohesive and even distribution of a song that you can, that doesn't always work super well by having really different sounding choruses. So what I ended up doing a lot throughout each individual stem project, so that was the bass, the guitars, the keys, I didn't actually use. I started working on it, and based on the little bit of mix I already had, I was like, I don't think it fits. So keys got cut. But everything else required a full soloed out listen to, a lot of copying and pasting of sections or in particular notes, because even though Suno is writing to existing melodies and rhythms, it could still get a couple notes wrong, which the horns did. And so I would have to go through the whole performance, find the in particular note that would be correct for that little bit of like the end of a phrasing, cut that, remove it from the existing timeline, paste that in and try to blend it to the best of my ability. And then inside of this project template, that is where I do all my processing for the horns. So that way I can use some of as many of the big plugins as I want. And it's only going to resource the computer for just these horns. And then I want to show you, after I do this for each individual stem, so drums, well, the drums are mine, I already did that, the guitar, the bass, the horns, and the vocals, then I have my mixing template. And everything that you see here, so like I've got my drums, and I just want to show you really quickly that like my personal taste for, I don't like automating things. I like to just have individualized sections. So I will put the drum track in, and then I will go through and splice it where like this is from just the side snare, soft intro to the heavier intro to verse 1. And I like those to all be at different levels. And I do that all across the board from bass to guitars and etc. And then once I'm satisfied with all the leveling of where the vocals are, where the horns are, then after I do all my processing and all the levels with that, then I will bounce out this for my mastering template. And then that's a whole nother set of stuff that you got to listen to and fade and change. So, I apologize that this is long-winded for a video interruption, but I really wanted to show that what you just heard, you can't really get from Suno just out of the box. It does take a lot of finessed time and work to be able to make the song as good as that turned out. So really, I just wanted to make sure it was clear that you could get some pretty killer results out of Suno, but it won't be from the project files that you download out of Suno. you will have to manually comb through each individual stem and perfect it to taste. So back to the original part of the video. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, this was certainly an experiment, and hopefully it was insightful if you were interested in Suno, or if you already have Suno and you haven't played around with the functionality in this way yet. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what you can and unfortunately can't do just yet. I'm sure as we progress into the future, this kind of technology is going to advance exceptionally fast. And depending on what you want to use it for, like for me, making some fun songs to play drums to, that's pretty much it. That is Suno in a nutshell if you're trying to create a song from scratch based on your idea that you're feeding it, instead of letting Suno just choose for you what your song is going to sound like. This was a fun experiment. I'm not entirely sure how the song turned out yet because I'm recording my closing of this video before I actually go into my DAW to mix that song. But if it did turn out good enough, then I will probably go ahead and post that drum performance as its own drum performance video on the Arcane Arrow channel. But either way, thank you for sticking it out. Thanks for watching the video and having an interest to see what we could actually make within Suno Studio. Hope it was a fun video for you guys. My name's CK. Arcane Arrow is my music project. So glad you're here, like always. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.